chat a little bit about short chain fatty acids. These are the byproduct of our gut microbiome digesting our prebiotic fibers. So I want to chat a little bit about that. I have some notes today because there's a lot of information about these 3 short chain fatty acids. So I want to share a little bit more about how amazing they are and why we want to include more fiber and fiber variety into our diets so that we can feed our gut microbiome so that they can produce more of these short chain fatty acids, also known as SCFAs. So I am open to questions. If you want to post any questions about this topic. Again, I'm not an expert, but I've been studying this for quite a while now, and I can share my insights for sure. So stick around, and I love your content. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that I can share some of these things that I've been really interested in and hopefully can help some of you out there. By changing what you're eating, you can, get more fiber into your diet, more raw into your diet. Again, here we are not about, the all or nothing black and white stuff, right? It's about adding more raw and more variety from plants into your diet and working towards that as your goal and not putting so much pressure on yourself to be super perfect or have everything figured out all at once, because life is an ongoing challenge for all of us, right? We're all learning, we're all growing, and I hope that I can share some stuff with you here today to help you. So again, Q&A as well. So if you want to ask me any questions about raw food or whatever, I'm here to answer. But before we begin, don't forget to go check out the Vegan Health Bundle, a great way to get more plants into your diet to help boost and feed your gut microbiome. There's tons of really cool things in the bundle. I actually just sent out an email talking about 2 of my favorite things that are in the bundle. One is the book from Mike the Vegan called Level 5 Vegan, where he talks about all the common challenges staying long term, because there's so many products out there for how to go vegan, but there aren't a lot of products out there for how to stay vegan and learning from the mistakes of others or learning from what others did or through the challenges that we have as vegans. So he goes into great detail in that, and it's a really well written book, and it totally has his sense of humor in it. So if you enjoy watching Mike the Vegan, get the bundle so that you can read his new ebook that's in there. And the other book that I really like is from Dr. Lori Marbus and Brittany Giroudi. And even though I'm a raw vegan, I don't do the cooked food recipes, I do find value in a lot of the things that other people have submitted to this bundle, particularly this contribution, because she goes over all the labs and blood work for a plant-based eater. So what to look for, what test, like the results should be. She kind of goes through all of that, common nutrients that are typically deficient for certain people on a plant-based diet, what to look for, that kind of thing. So she goes into great detail about that in her contribution, and that is also available in the bundle, along with almost $700 worth of our stuff. But you're only paying $49 to get everything. You're getting over $8,000 worth of stuff. People have bought the bundle and then they email me and they're like, I can't believe I get all this stuff. And I'm like, yes, you get all 150 downloads. You get to download them all. You get to enjoy everything. So please go grab the bundle if you haven't yet. The link is in my bio or in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube. So let's dig into short chain fatty acids. Let's talk about that. So there are 3 short chain fatty acids that are specific for our health: acetate, butyrate, and propionate. So acetate is kind of I'm reading off my screen if you see me looking down, just so that I can share everything that I want to share. It's a metabolic supporter. So it supports energy metabolism in various tissues, including the brain and the muscles. It's abundant in foods like fiber-rich fruits, vegetables, and grains. So if you do eat grains, you can get the prebiotic that feeds the bacteria that produce acetate. Or you can just get it in fiber-rich fruits and vegetables if you're raw, so just eating a wide variety. Propionate is the blood sugar stabilizer. So propionate is really good for helping with insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity, and blood sugar metabolism. So it regulates blood sugar levels by inhibiting glucose production, and it's found in grains, and some types of fiber. When it says it's found in, it's actually a metabolite of the digestive process. So butyrate is my favorite one. That one is, they call it the gut guardian, and that is it's nature's food for our colon cells. So when our bacteria produce butyrate, butyric acid is fuel for our colonocyte cells in our colon. And this helps our colon cells to repair the gut. This is essential if people are dealing with candida overgrowth or gut dysbiosis in the form of leaky gut. So leaky gut is kind of like holes in the gut where food particles and things can get into the bloodstream. So we want to repair that. And one thing that is needed to repair that is butyrate to feed the colon cells so that they're able to do that. And it, again, is derived from the fermentation process of fiber from whole fruits and vegetables. So there is some talk that insoluble fiber is very important for this as well. So making sure that we have both soluble and insoluble fiber is very important. So short chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, again, fortify the gut barrier, preventing the entry of harmful substances and promoting overall digestive health. So butyrate is very, very important. And high fiber foods like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, apples, pears, all that, fruits and vegetables, sprouts, and sprouted nuts and seeds. Everything is going to have a lot of this prebiotic fiber in various amounts to feed various bacteria in them, which in turn produce these short chain fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory, and they say also anti-cancer as well. So colon cancer, having more fiber in our diet is definitely pushing us in the right direction to preventing some forms of cancer. So one thing that I like to say is all fruits and vegetables are healthy options for different fibers. And we want to enjoy a variety. Now, there's lots of talk out there from one of the studies that they did where people who had the strongest gut microbiomes ate over 30 different varieties of fruits and vegetables and grains and other plant foods in a week. So they're eating a very wide variety of different fibers, and the more variety of fibers that they're eating, the stronger their guts become. So having a huge variety of things is really important. And I like to talk about diet minimalism a lot because there are a lot of people who restrict down to only like a few different food choices. And as much as an elimination diet can be helpful for some people to discover some food sensitivities, it's not meant to be a long-term thing. You're supposed to work with a practitioner to, figure out what you have sensitivities to, and then slowly reincorporate those foods back in as you work with your practitioner to help stabilize your gut dysbiosis. So having a very, very restricted or limited variety diet can cause a lot of gut issues later down the road. And that's why some people who restrict their intake of variety too much for too long, they typically can't eat wider variety later on. Or if they try to eat something that they don't normally eat, they get gassy and bloated, and then they immediately say that, oh, that's not food for humans. But it's not that it's not food for humans, it's just that their gut is weakened and it can't digest those foods because they just don't eat them. So one thing that I'm just going to read this here really quick. The more variety we enjoy, the more diverse our gut microbiome can become. It's important to focus on smaller amounts of many things as opposed to larger amounts of only a few things. In this case, minimalism isn't ideal for our diets. It might be a good idea for our junk drawers and closets, but not so much for our guts. A monocropped field doesn't have the same diversity of life as an untouched jungle with lots of variety. Think of our gut the same. When we eat large amounts of only a few things, we are in many ways monocropping our guts out of diversity. If we value diversity in our forests, we should also value it in our guts as well. So it's really important to give our guts a wide variety of different fibers throughout the week. Nate and I, we're geeks with this, and we really like to have like multiple different kinds of varieties in every single salad. Like some of our salads have like 25 things in them, but there's small amounts of many things. So it makes this big gigantic salad anyways, instead of just being, say, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, and maybe red onion or something, right? We try to have a wide range of things, including radicchio and endive, and maybe a floret of broccoli, maybe 1 or 2 Brussels sprouts, a couple shavings of cabbage. We've got dandelion greens in there, romaine lettuce. And then we have all the other stuff, like sometimes we'll just do like 1 rib of celery with maybe 2 or 3 tomatoes, maybe half a bell pepper, some cucumber. Like we just add smaller amounts of multiple things into our salad, and that over time has really increased and strengthened our gut microbiome with that consistency, because we want our gut to be like an untouched jungle, loaded with tons of diversity and really strong, instead of monocropping it down to, you know, only a few varieties left and not as strong. So when you eat new foods that maybe you don't normally eat, like if I try different greens that I've never had before, it's not as much of a shock to my system as if I was only limited to a certain amount of foods. And then if I ate that thing, it would cause my gut kind of some discomfort, because my gut wouldn't be used to eating, more fiber varieties. So those are some thoughts on that. Sprouted lentils are amazing. Resistant starch is also a really good one. And this might be controversial to some people, but there is talk about green bananas being really good for our gut microbiome. And Daniel, who is part of the bundle, he's got 4 ebooks in the bundle. He has a bun made with green banana flour. So the green bananas have resistant starch in them, which feed certain types of our microbiome and can actually be beneficial to us. So yes, as it's best to eat bananas when they're ripe, every once in a while have a banana that might be green, or have just 1 or 2 bites of it, so that you can have that resistant starch in your body too, which can be very helpful. Fermented foods are very important for building the gut microbiome and for helping our body to produce these short chain fatty acids, which are really beneficial to us. And so there's a couple tips. I'm just going to share 4 quick tips. Diversify your plate. So try to get as much as you possibly can on your plate. Gradually increase certain things. So for example, if you have issues about broccoli or cabbage or whatever, even fermented foods, if you feel like they're too much, start slower. Start slower. As Dr. Will Bolsowicz talks about in his Fiber Fueled cookbook and his actual book, go slow. Start with a very small amount just to start, and then be more consistent with the smaller amounts, and that will actually help to grow your microbiome. Prioritize whole foods. Obviously, I'm a big proponent in that. Whole foods are the way to go. So keep them in their whole form, whether you're chopping, blending, dehydrating, whatever, keep them in their whole form as much as possible, because that's going to keep the fiber the best. And do things beyond the plate to grow your microbiome further. So it's not just what we eat that contributes to a strong microbiome, but it's also what we do. So exercise and sleep and stress management are the top 3 things that we can do beyond diet to help our microbiome grow. If we are not sleeping properly, our microbiome is going to suffer. If we are not exercising, our microbiome is going to suffer. If we're super constantly stressed out and we don't have the skills and coping things to deal with the stress, our microbiome is going to suffer. So we need to work on these things aside from just the diet, which are going to be really helpful. Plus, even like going out in nature and, touching different areas, like going different places, getting your hands in the dirt, that kind of thing can help to bring new, different microbes into your realm. So spending time in nature is actually really good for our microbiomes too. But we all know these things. We all know that we should, eat more fiber, eat whole food. These are, I read this quote the other day. It was really good. It was like, we have to get good at the boring, right? Because everybody wants a quick fix, do it now, restrictions, extreme diets and protocols, and these secrets, right? Everyone's looking for the secret, but we have the secret. It's just that no one wants to do it, right? Or very few people want to do it, is to do the boring, to go to bed on time, to exercise, to plan our day and eat properly and practice stress management. And these are all things that are boring, but the reward far outweighs the immediate gratification of the other choice. So it really boils down to, what do we truly want for ourselves? If we truly want to feel more energized in the morning, then going to bed early is actually a desire. It's something that we want to do. And when we start to think like, I want to do this, I'm excited to do this, we're more likely to do it. But it takes practice. We have to continually practice this. And I'm not perfect, obviously. Like, some nights I go to bed super late. Some days I don't, most days I don't exercise. Like, there's things that I still need to work on in my life as well. So it's all about, working with yourself and being gentle with who you are and loving yourself through these changes, because the changes are challenging themselves. So we need to love ourselves instead of shaming ourselves because we're not doing what we should be doing, right? Ra in Finland says, I wish people would be more passionate about fiber as they are about protein. I agree. I so agree. Protein is easy to get. If you eat enough and you eat a wide variety, you can get enough protein. But fiber is something that most people are not getting enough of, especially considering the average person gets, I don't even know what the numbers are these days, but it's like 5 to 15 grams of fiber a day, which is super low. It's like half the RDA, and the RDA is already considered low in my books. I eat anywhere between 80 and 100 plus grams of fiber a day, and that's like way beyond the RDA, but that's what's built my gut. And I don't even focus on protein because all the foods I eat have protein, and it's all good. Ron Finland says, good talk, really good talk. Our health starts with the gut microbiome. It definitely does. Nourish Philly says, exactly. I'm glad you guys are on board. Thank you so much. How do you feel about psyllium husk? I love psyllium husk. I think psyllium husk is amazing. And the reason why I believe that is because psyllium husk is one of the soluble fibers that feeds Roseburia bacteria specifically. I mean, it feeds other bacteria too, but Roseburia specifically produces a lot of butyric acid or butyrate, short chain fatty acid, in our guts. So adding psyllium husk is a great way to help boost and fuel and feed our Roseburia bacteria. So I've been using it in my raw wraps. Yes. So the raw wraps have psyllium in it. And interestingly enough, Nate and I have been doing our gut microbiome tests like every 6 months for the last probably almost 3 years now. And in the last 6 or 7 months, because we released our wrap book probably about 8 or 9 months ago, but in the last 6 or 7 months, we've been eating wraps. Not every day, but multiple times a week we're eating the wraps. Sometimes it's every day, sometimes it's a couple days before we have one, but we're eating a lot of wraps. So we're eating a lot of psyllium, we're eating a lot of chia or flax, and we're eating a lot of onions. Onions are really high in allicin, which is really beneficial at killing off some of the bad bacteria, while in turn feeding some of the good bacteria. There's a lot of people who say garlic and onions kill good bacteria. They actually feed, the inulin in onions and garlic actually feeds good microbiome, and also kills off some of the undesirable bacteria. So the wraps with the onion, the psyllium, the chia have greatly affected my microbiome as well as Nate's. Our scores have gone up like quite a bit, considering that, the scores go up maybe like 0.5% to 1% on average. Our scores went up over 2% in the last 6 months of testing, because I believe we included more onion, psyllium, and also apple pectin. We don't normally eat a lot of apples, but in the wraps, we make the everything bagel wrap, which has an apple in it. So we are getting more pectin that way, which is beneficial for our gut microbiome as well. So the wraps are definitely great. We like to call them gut food because they are really, really great for that. Oh, you can test. I want to test. Yeah, so if you want to do a microbiome test, microbiome testing is what we do. We go through Ombre Lab. So you can get the test on Amazon. If you want Ombre Lab, the link, send me a DM and just say gut test or whatever, and I'll send you a link to the Ombre Lab gut test from Amazon. What you do is as soon as you get the test, when you wake up in the morning and you're gonna have a bowel movement, then you collect a sample in a tissue or whatever, and you use the sterilized Q-tip to take a rice-sized sample of your stool, and then you mix it in the blue liquid for like 20 or 30 seconds, and then you shake it up after that inside the bottle, and then you ship it off to them. And within 2 to 3 weeks, you have your test results. They email it to you, and then you can go through and see all the different kinds of bacteria you have. You can actually download your data, and I like to do this. I download the data from Ombre Lab, and I upload it to Biome site, biomesight.com. And from there, I get a further and deeper, more accurate analysis. So I do like going and putting my data into Biome Site. And on Biome Site, they actually have this section where it says supplements, and it suggests supplements for your specific gut, because everyone's different. Your gut microbiome is like your fingerprints. Everybody is different, right? So everyone's gut is going to be slightly different. But we know in science which bacteria are connected with better health outcomes. So it's really about trying to work with your gut microbiome and not try to be perfect. Obviously, I still have work to do on mine as well. So it's a lifelong ongoing thing. And so when I did my test, I noticed like the supplement section said, some of the supplements that were suggested for me were high in allicin, pectin, and some of them had psyllium husk. So instead of taking the supplement, my goal is to improve my gut with food alone. So I personally don't take any of the supplements or the probiotics that they suggest. You definitely can if you want to, if that's a route that you want to do. I did the Biome or the Ombre Lab test. That's the test that I did for those asking. So because the supplement said those 3 things, I know I can get allicin from onions and garlic. I know I can get psyllium from whole food. And I know that I can get pectin from eating apples. So I just start to include more of those foods into my diet instead of taking the supplement, as well as increasing my fermented foods, different kinds of fermented foods into my diet as well for that. But again, I'm not knocking supplements. It's just for me because I'm a geek and I want to see what I can do with just food alone without having to take the supplements. So there's that. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, gut microbiome test is ombrelab.com. And then I upload my data to biomesite.com. If you're in the UK, that area, Europe, you can use Biomesite. They do testing as well, so you can get a test from them. You can also do viome.com. They do Canada, because Ombre Lab doesn't do anywhere outside the US, but Viome does other countries as well. If you're in Australia, I believe it's microba.au, I think. But yeah, so there are different microbiome testing. You can also go to zoe.com. They do kind of like an ongoing scientific study research for gut microbiome stuff, and they test your microbiome. You're basically put into a study when you go with Zoe. That's Dr. Will Bolsowicz. He works with that study. So there's that as well. So there's tons of different resources that you can go to check your gut microbiome and to work with it. So I hope that this live was really helpful to some people. And if it was, thank you. Thank you for joining. I love you all so much. Please go check out the Vegan Health Bundle. The link is in my bio or in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube. Get the bundle because you're getting over $8,000 worth of stuff, including my wrap book, the taco book, a live lunch where it's like 35 hours of video content of Nate and I making raw food in the kitchen. So get that bundle for $49 because it's, you know, all the stuff that we contributed is worth over almost $700. So it's definitely worth it, even just for my stuff. But there's so many other gems in there. Like I said earlier, Dr. Lori Marbas has the blood work for plant-based eaters. Mike the Vegan has her, has his level 5 vegan, how to stay vegan ebook in there. Chef AJ has stuff in there. We've got Dr. McDougall, Dr. Furman, Dr. Nikki Davis. We've got a bunch of doctors who are involved. Kiki is in there. There's so many cool things in this bundle. You're gonna wanna go check it out because you get it all. You get all 150 things for $49. So it's like it's like 32 cents per thing. So definitely go grab it. Unapologetically Vegan says, also for anyone who hasn't bought the bundle, I bought it and it's amazing. Thank you so much. Seriously, your sweater game is unreal. Thank you. I love sweaters and this is one of my favorite ones. I actually bought it one day. We were out a lot longer than we should have been, just doing errands and stuff. And I was cold because I forgot my jacket and it was cold, winter, whatever. And I was like, oh, I just want a sweater. So we stopped off. I can't remember if it was Walmart or Target, but we went into one of those stores and I was like, oh, look at this cute sweater. So I just bought it just because I was cold that day. And it's like my favorite sweater. I love it so much. I'm glad you do too. Good live. Thank you so much. Great live. I'm glad you guys love that. Instagram Tara says the live lunch videos are amazing. Get the bundle. Yes, get the bundle to get access to a live lunch. The regular retail for a live lunch is $330. So just a live lunch, even if you just bought the bundle for a live lunch, you're saving a ton of money. So go check it out. The link is in my bio or in the description box below. We're going to be back in an hour chatting with, oh my gosh, who are we chatting with? I know we're chatting with Stacy at 5 o'clock, but we're going to be back at 3 o'clock. We've got another live coming. So please stay tuned for that. Mwah, I love you all. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really greatly appreciate it. Until the next one, fruit on.